Hello, and welcome to Uncommon Sense Life. This YouTube channel is for me, not anyone else. As MS progresses and ravages my brain and body, my executive function has been impacted, and how I perceive things. My reality is constantly being challenged. So, I needed to put together this channel as a visual diary to help me out and come back and reflect on my thinking, the world around me, and all types of subjects. There'll be no fancy editing, no fancy lighting, no boom mics. I'm not going to beg you to like, subscribe, share. You do with this as you please. I won't have any expertise on automobile repair or cutting down trees or home remodeling or engineering. There'll be no whiteboards. It's just me. Unfortunately, it's a visual. I've been told that I have a face for radio, so you're going to have to live with that. But, again, this is for me. MS has slowly been taking bits and pieces of my life, and I need to find out how much and how fast. So, I decided to come up with this channel. Because, as the title states, it's about common sense. Because there really is no common sense. If common sense were common, you wouldn't have to say a common sense approach to this or a common sense approach to that. But there is no such thing as common sense. Everyone is different. We're individuals. You perceive things, how you grew up, your religion. Me, being a white male in the Midwest in his early 50s, exposed to Christianity and Catholicism primarily, I have completely different views. I'm going to react to different subjects and different ideas. So when people come out and say common sense approach, they are virtue signaling. They are saying I am right and no other ideas are valid. That's not true. What's right for me, what I perceive, how I can use this information might work here in the Midwest. But if I grew up in the inner city or out on a farm or on the coastline or in the mountains or in another country or a different religion, it's not common. It might be common for a small group of people, generally your family, but that doesn't always work out either. We're used to trying to get people to do what we want without having to give them valid reasons by prefacing the comment with a common sense approach, common sense to this. But it's not common. If it were common, you wouldn't have to say anything. Everyone would just already know it. It would already be in place. You wouldn't have to even bring up the subject. So when you or me or anyone starts off with the term common sense, you have to step back and say, okay, apparently they have an emotional connection to this. Their vested interest is purely about them and their views. But they want to try and get others to join in. We all want to be part of a group sometimes, not everyone, but most people want to be welcome. They want to be part of a group. They want to be perceived as knowledgeable. But when you start off a debate or any kind of comment with a common sense approach, you're leaving yourself short. You're saying that it's emotional. And if you were to come out and say, start off not saying common sense, but I have an emotional connection to this, and based upon my emotions and my background, this is how I think things should be, how the world should rotate, I think gives greater weight. Now people can sit down and determine whether or not you actually are trying to be open in a conversation. But quite often when you start off with saying common sense approach, you're not open. You've already shut down any dissent. You are putting yourself in a silo, and you hope that everyone else jumps into that silo. But you can't. You need critical thinking skills. Toddlers, initially, yes, they'll follow their parents. They'll do everything that their parents tell them. But there's even a point in time as you grow up, and toddlers grow up, that you start questioning even your parents. So why would you stop and not question a stranger who gets up in front of a mic or starts a YouTube channel and goes, I have a common sense approach. Follow me. My ideas are right. Anything else is wrong. No debate. That's not the way we should. We should constantly be questioning. You learn. Fire is hot. Fire can burn. Knives are hot, or sharp. Not hot, but they are sharp. Or it can be dull. But you gotta try to figure this out on your own. Now, you can use other people's information, their guidance, but don't do it necessarily blindly. Don't just jump on top and say, well, they said it was a common sense approach, therefore it must be common and must be right, and we should all just follow through. So this channel is for me. I'm going to touch on a number of subjects. I'm not going to have any fancy lighting again. The mic might suck. I'm not going to be doing any editing. So if I'm rambling, it's my MS, and I need to know it. So again, if common sense were common, I wouldn't have to say anything, but I'm going to have to.